Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cardistry Talk. This is episode 37, and this is a special episode. I put it to my Instagram story asking if anybody, just asking you guys if you wanted to be a part of an episode, which is something I've wanted to do for a while. I've had a couple people contact me, and today I'm super happy to have picked Tyler Herget, if I said that correctly. Hopefully, I did. Also known as producer Tyler on Instagram. I think it's going to be a very interesting episode. He has edited podcasts and videos and stuff in the past, and he's also starting a kind of unboxing series on Instagram. So I'm super happy to have him on the show. Tyler, welcome.
Thank you. This is where you insert all of the fake applause and noise and stuff, all that. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. This will be a fun one. I definitely think so. I'm just interested from your perspective, from just in general with editing podcasts and stuff. What's it kind of like editing these things, and do you have any tips for me or any recommendations from what you've seen?
So the only thing, I mean, the thing is, you're already doing what most people fail at is consistency. And I think the fact that you put around, which was a brilliant idea, because it gives you an option to like take a break if you need to or whatever. But the 52, like on your, like you're using cards as kind of like structure for it. And I think that's like where I see a lot of people, at least that I've worked with and now and previously, that they've gotten ideas for like a couple of episodes, but then they're like, oh, wait a minute, this is like a thing now. And so I think the fact that you went into it already just with a game of like a plan of attack about a subject, like you're like, okay, I'm going to release this much and it's going to go up to this, and then like you can wrap up each season at like different. It's the timing part was really sweet, and like I appreciate anybody that can like stay consistent with something. It's so easy to just like kind of get into something and then find something new to get into, and like, because video stuff is difficult, tedious, takes way too much time, and then there's computer problems. You get like just middle of editing anything, you just all of a sudden, I use Adobe products, and we've been having some like bugs with Photoshop lately, and it just hinders everything, and just there's never a good time for a video editing platform program to crash. And so I always suggest just save a lot and turn auto save on like every 5 minutes. Because especially if you're making like little cuts and stuff, or you're making any kind of like little B-roll sequences, it's just the worst when you're already kind of like trying to get through the grind of an edit, and then you have to restart. So that's just more general editing. I just think it's cool because you are able to bring in so many different perspectives, and you appreciate getting the different perspectives. And so you're not just kind of like, I only want to hear from these people. You're kind of just like anybody that just wants to talk cards. And then there's like the people that make cards. Then there's the people that create moves with cards. And then there's people that just play with the cards. And then there's people kind of getting into it. And so I appreciate like the community all that much more, because you're giving kind of a platform to a niche, if you will.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that you say that, because like going into this whole thing, we're going up on a year now, June 3rd. For me, it always started out with I mean, it's improved so much over time for me, like the quality of the show. That's always what I'm trying to do. But going into it, I didn't really have like a vision for it, and I didn't have that weekly schedule planned. It was only until like episode 5 where like I interviewed Andrew Shea. I remember that episode specifically, and I was like, okay, I really like, I enjoy talking one-on-one with these people. I actually do enjoy video editing for the most part. Like I can I want to be consistent with this, and I want to actually keep with it, because there's been so many, especially in the playing card spectrum, people that'll start out and they'll only do a couple episodes and then they'll kind of dip out, or they'll only do it for a really short section. I really wanted to be consistent once I kind of realized that. And I think it's been really funny. I see not necessarily clones because they're not clones, but there's been a couple shows that have popped up and I've talked with them and they're like, yeah, we wanted to do something similar to what you're doing. So it's been really cool seeing that impact, because that was always the goal too, is I don't want to just be the only one. I just want there to be more streams for people to enjoy playing cards and cardistry specifically as well. So I'm really appreciative that you said that. With consistency too, that's something, and like video editing, stuff crashing. I mean, I think this year I've made every mistake that I could possibly, I hope every mistake I could possibly make. I'm sure there'll be more, but
only way
I've
you
learned,
learn.
yeah, I've learned so many of the things not to do this season, more so than what to do. Like I've had video get corrupted recently. I've deleted accidentally stuff that I needed to use. I pushed record twice and then stopped the recording early on. Like I've made big mistakes, but I've learned from all of them, and I'm really like, I'm happy I've kept doing it. I'm happy to hopefully continue doing it.
That dude, hitting record twice, done it. And thankfully, that one time I did it on a paid gig, I had a backup camera. I had an AB camera and I was filming in 4K. So I was able to at least crop in and out on one camera to kind of give it a little bit of a mix up.
Yeah.
But had to hide some cuts with B-roll and whatnot where I was like, oh, man, and it's like interesting. You were kind of even bringing up just the woes of video creation, because like as you were listing them, like I felt it. Like I remember, like I've gotten back from a gig where I came back from Florida, and I'm from Indiana. I came back from Florida and got back and realized all the audio from the shotgun mic wasn't working. I had some interviews. I had the whole video had to change, and I think we made it work because I was able to use a lot of B-roll, and then we went with like the graphic route with the like text flying in that would talk about what's what. And so, but then I had to learn more about like flashy text. And so like I cried that night, and I was like, because it was literally everything that I was like, the whole way home, I was like building the video in my head. And I was like, oh, he said this, and he was talking like this. I could pair that with this. And I got back, and sure enough. But now my lesson, also another lesson from that was, oh, I need to make sure I always use headphones when recording.
Mm-hmm.
Just always just listen for audio, because then it just takes one big mess up like that to just like really ruin a vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, recently I realized, I mean, everybody says this and I've never done it, but because I've never really saw the value in it, but everybody says back up your files, and I didn't recently. I had my computer crash while it was rendering. I lost all that video for the Leonte interview, the most recent one, and it was a really good interview too. All I had was the audio. It was so disappointing, but now I'm going to back up all of my stuff, so it won't happen again. But live and learn. But
yep.
Yeah,
never clear an SD card until the project's done. Because you think you ripped all the footage off of it and you whatever, but nope, you left that one on and formatted it for another project, and then you have to deal with that problem. That was another moment. So
yeah,
it's interesting too, adapting with like the new platforms and seeing kind of different ways to create content about a subject. That's one thing that I think has been really fun to have witnessed through this last year, and seeing how like our whole business had a shift. We were originally probably like 75% of our income was coming from real estate photography at that time. But we were like already kind of like, man, we're burning out from it. And when you're when you're like a freelance photographer like that, and you're kind of at the beck and call of most people that are your clients, like you need to get out there and you need to get out there yesterday and get the pictures there and get pictures edited and sent off so that you could do it again the next day. And then all of a sudden somebody's like, oh, I have another one, but it's way up on this side of town. And so you spend your whole day just driving. Anyway, says about that. But we were trying to get out of that. We were trying to figure out other streams of income, and that's where like podcasting started coming in. We were approached by somebody to kind of help them with theirs. They had it already going, and over the course of the pandemic, more and more podcasts started popping up because content, and then Zoom calls became kind of, you're able to do what you're doing right now because of Zoom, and where it just wasn't being as taken advantage of before, or mainstream maybe. And now we edit a lot of that, and so but then we're not just editing it for audio, but now we'll edit for YouTube, and then we'll take that and we'll edit it for Instagram. But then within Instagram, you've got Instagram Reels, and then you've got Instagram Stories, and then there's Instagram TV. And so there's so many ways to implement content on each platform now. And that's what's like been really fascinating to watch. And then there's TikTok. Like TikTok became a thing, you know, it's like, and then there's people that like will pop off on that, and then you go to their Instagram and they have micro, like just barely of much of a following, and then you'll see the inverse. You'll see somebody huge on Instagram, but then they're not as big on TikTok. But then the way you make content is, yeah. So it's fun watching how everybody is adapting to the new and evolving content game, especially within Cardistry.
Yeah, I think since COVID, basically, I mean, you can't really do this type of cardistry playing card interview. Like most podcasts, they're in like a popular city, and then they have guests that can come to their place. You can't,
for sure.
You can't really do that with playing cards too much, especially cardistry, which is my focus. So, I mean, Zoom just being an option, or just having some way to FaceTime call like this, I mean, it's opened up a lot of doors for me to meet new people from around the world. It's been really cool talking to people from not just the United States. Like, I've talked to people from Uruguay, Netherlands. Like, that's really, really cool. And it wouldn't have been happening without this type of setup. I do really deeply want to eventually get to like an in-person ones every once in a while. I think that'd be sweet. But just having this option and like kind of realizing it because of the pandemic, like I guess you could say I didn't process that was like something you could do. It's been really rewarding, I think. And like you said, with like different streams of media, you know, that's something I want to play around with a little bit more, because mostly my stuff's on YouTube or podcasts. But I definitely,
you also are doing a great job too of putting them. I wouldn't know about you if it weren't for Instagram. So, and just like making little teaser videos, which is brilliant. I think that's like, it's such a great way to get in front of a very specific audience as well, by participating in the community, but also creating content on different platforms that's native to it as well. I think you're not just repurposing stuff, copy and paste all over the place. It's you're making an Instagram clip, and then you've got the YouTube video, then you've got the audio version. So then people can consume the content kind of different, even like if it's on, like I'll listen to a part of a podcast and then I'll finish it up by watching it on YouTube. So like, who knows what it could turn into, man. And I think, and going back to the consistency part, that to me is what is so cool to see what you've done consistently.
Yeah, and there's definitely weeks that I miss and such, but I think the fact that I've been able to have gotten 38 in within a year, like that's about 80% a weekly. So
that's great, man.
Definitely going forward, I want to try to keep the weekly as much as possible.
It's got to be kind of difficult, like booking podcasts, reaching out to people, like finding people. I feel like you've gotten lots of like great people, but I do feel like it's just you're kind of like reaching out to a very specific audience, and so like that is, to me, is really impressive that you've been able to book so many different people in your first year. That part's cool too, because that's where I would struggle. Like I'd struggle DMing and just being like, hey, I'm doing this and you can do this and I'll put you on this, and that's what's also cool about, and I don't know like what your ratio of like yes and no is, but I think the people that have said yes, it's been so fun listening to them and their perspectives on it, because like I was just like listening to Matt Fox, yes, but that dude was talking about stuff like in archives and stuff, and I'm like, then there's this level of card, like this layer of like, oh, here's what's happening in cardistry world, here's what's happening more in the cardistry world if you like go in and look into it. And then there's this like underground, like you only know about this if
video trading.
Yeah, dude. And so I was like, this guy's like, and he's like talking about trading videos. I'm like, he's like doing NFTs right now before NFTs were a thing. I was like, that's and then I'm over here like, so back in 2007 I got Ninja from Illusionist.
I think what's helped me a ton is that it's such a small community. Especially early on, my strategy was always I would interview the people that I knew in the community first. So Sam Gordon, Will Reed, Cam Toner, those were people that I kind of already knew a little bit. And then from there, I would contact their friends, and then those original people would be able to like validate that like I'm trying at least. Like I know those early episodes weren't the best, but they're like he's trying, and like he's making an effort, and like they can confirm that like I'm worth the time kind of deal. And from there, it's kind of spiraled to where, since once again, it's such a small community, there's been a lot of people where I'll message them and they'll be like, oh yeah, I like your stuff for sure. Or there'll be people that'll DM me wanting to be on the show. So that's happened 2 or 3 times. So that's
sweet. I'm happy to hear that, because that it's getting that momentum going. And then once you have it, it's so much easier to keep it going than just really trying to, like you said before, like you see sometimes people like come in, they try some stuff and then they bounce, and like that's in every industry too. That's me, and like going to the gym. I just finally went back. Like I was doing so well, like from like for a little while. Okay. And then I stopped, but then I finally just went back yesterday. But it is just like, you see that a lot. And so, and then you do just kind of like, and that's why I like with what I started with decks, just opening decks, and I wanted it to be something in my voice, not just something where I needed to like come in with a bunch of like YouTube hype or like set up shots like Kier would do. Like I loved his videos. I saw he was doing something else and it's kind of like getting away from the card review industry. I was like when he's done that for like a couple of years, I'm like, sure, man. Like, yeah. But like he used it to like really, he built his audience, but he's also like so good at it. But like if the more you know about videos and editing and stuff, he was putting in some serious time onto those videos and those like all of those shots that he would do. And I was like, I don't have to, I knew I wouldn't be able to be consistent with it if I was swinging for like that level of quality. I've got the cool spinning, rotating thing. I've got some gels for the LED lights that I have. I've got a C-stand right above me. I'm not going to set up and do that. I can't, like, I know myself enough that if I put too many things like to create friction from actually doing it or creating anything, this kind of goes for anything. If there's too much like hoops to jump through or friction or head trash, even, I know I won't be consistent. So that's why I really enjoy just filming something more quick and then just doing a voiceover of like, here's what I'm thinking. Just more of like kind of stream of consciousness almost too is sometimes easier, but hard to edit. And so that's when I was like, okay, I'm just going to be as concise as I can about something, because that's how I would want to see, well, like anything.
I think early on too, I kind of realized what I can and couldn't do, or I had to learn. Like, it's been really nice since I've been doing it a longer time. I get like things that I can reuse. Like I reuse some graphic elements and stuff like that in most episodes, the opener. So you slowly start to acquire those things that make the whole better, but you don't have originally. So that's been nice. But yeah, I've definitely learned, like, honestly, I would love to sit down and like heavily edit these to like the hot ones level of editing where like there's tons of B-roll and stuff, but it's just not realistic with my schedule and with work.
Yeah.
So I've kind of had to get this middle ground where I'm not putting out like the worst quality, but I'm also not putting out the best quality that I can do, just so I can be consistent.
But you're still putting stuff out though. Yeah. And that's what's vital, because these will be the cool episodes to look back on when you are doing it at the hot one level, you know, like it's, oh, wow, cool. I gotta, because then people that are watching and participating, they're watching, they literally get to see like the podcast grow, like not only in size or numbers or whatever like that, but in like the quality. Like, oh, I remember when they said, like, when we watched the YMH podcast, and I remember when they upgraded from camcorders to, I found out they're using, I think, Blackmagic Ursa minis. Mm-hmm. And so like they're using legit cameras, and they've got the like switchers and stuff. And I was like, but then you go way back like to their like first couple of episodes that they were recording, and it's just them that's kind of like in their attic or something, like just doing it. And I was like, it's so cool to have that like documented. Mm-hmm. And then you get to see it just progress over time through consistency and getting more comfortable with it. And this week you learn this, so now next week you can start doing this. And I got one of these Camlink 4Ks, best like investment for talking, doing this. It's made, because like I've got extra, this is like an old camera I used for real estate photography that was just sitting on like my cool little millennial shelf of little things. And I was like, I need to actually put this to use, and I love it. It's been really fun to like play with. And then I've got one of these other ones that you can connect to a monitor and send it out. So that's how, I think it is one of the first. I act like I've got like, it was probably like, you know, maybe episode like 2 or 4 or 5, and I've done like 2.
But what you have put out, I've enjoyed. I know I watched the roasters before. I realized that connected you to when we were talking on Messenger without connecting those two. I think it's like really unique, something that's not being done too much. These quick, like you said, really concise 60-second videos. I always feel, especially on YouTube, there are some playing card reviews that just they take forever and there's not a lot of information given. So for you just to do like these quick snapshots, and to have it really quick, concise, and then have a little bit of entertaining value in there. And then obviously your editing shows through, I think. I think if you continue doing this, I think people would really, really enjoy it. And I like what I've seen so far.
I appreciate hearing that, because as maybe you can imagine, we're all our own worst critics, and I see what I do and I'm like, why did you do that? You should have done this, or you should have tried that, or whatever. So it's always great to hear feedback from especially people in the game. That's the other thing too.
One thing too, like we talked a little bit before recording, I like how your stuff kind of like, it can bring in laymen, how the stuff you've made, at least so far, the few that you've made, that they can, you can kind of tailor it to them to show off like things that they would think are unique, not necessarily from a cardist or a collector's point of view, to bring them in. I think as like a community playing cards, we're really like kind of closed off, not necessarily closed off, but we're all super focused on the community itself and not necessarily outside of it. So I really like that you kind of highlight things that kind of a layman wouldn't understand or would enjoy more necessarily than like me.
Yeah. And there's levels to it, because I'll show, so these I finished up, and I think I threw in my highlights on my Instagram. I just started it, but like I've just finished up with a photo shoot, and I was comfortable with the clients, and they're like friends, and they were getting their headshots updated for like email signatures and things, and they mentioned cards, and I was just like, and I pull out like they're probably expecting like what they're expecting is like the like bicycle cards or something like the last time they probably saw cards was when they were playing with like an old beat up deck, and then I show up with this like golden foil and fancy deck, and so I just like recorded them reacting to it, and it was so fun just seeing like people experience cards and like just the like fancy paper in a whole new way. That was hilarious. And I've showed cards to people where like they would say, I don't think I would want to use these because they feel like they like look expensive. I feel like these are like those nice cards that you bring out to play when like the family's over or something. But I've heard that a couple of times. So it's really interesting kind of getting just general feedback, because when you're in the subreddits and your whole algorithm is now just a bunch of dudes and dudettes, what I was going to say, but like people like just doing these like crazy packet cuts and then flipping. This is like the only aerial thing I could do, but then I've started seeing people like and then they catch it in a fan or something. I'm just like, and that's where I've kind of accepted for now. I'm also I'm a fan of it.
I don't know if I've spoken on this topic yet, but I think for cardistry specifically too, we're, like I said, we're all really focused on what everybody else is doing in the community. I think that there's a lot of room for people to just be casual consumers of it. Not like you don't have to release a deck. You don't have to make a performance video. You can just enjoy it at your leisure. Like it doesn't have to be a super serious thing that takes a lot of time. Compared to like right now, like I said, most of the people in the community are like super serious and like they want to make a performance video. They want to release a deck of cards. I think there's a lot of room to grow in the when it comes to just casual cardists and casual playing card collectors.
Troll decks. What's your opinion on them?
Troll decks. I think I've talked with Kevin Ho, who's like another really big member of the community, who's been in there for a long time.
Yeah.
And when I was talking to him, he has like a kind of a collection of like meme decks. So he has like, I don't remember what the frog is called, but the frog meme, and like just a deck with a picture of male anatomy on it.
I've only heard about that. I've actually looked for it, but I heard about it when the troll decks.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of it, as long as it continues to be parody and not like try to be like serious or anything. Like if it's a parody deck, meme decks, I'm actually all for it. I don't know how much interest there will be in the long run. I've always thought it would be a good kind of market for playing cards to kind of mess around with, the people that do custom decks.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's something they could do pretty well, but I'm a fan of like parody and memes. I probably won't buy too many, but I mean, you see it. The other big community I'm in used to be in is video games, and there's like parody video games and stuff like that too. Like there's a Japanese game called, I think, Parodius, or it's just like it's a straight parody of Gradius and like all the shoot 'em up games.
Yeah.
And like I love that type of stuff, and I think that there's plenty of room for it. I think the people that don't like it like don't understand that they're not trying to like steal a concept, or like they're not stealing their design. It's more so just like it's having fun. So I like it. I don't know if I'm the only one, but
nope, you're not. I love it, dude. I think it is. So you're not wrong when you say that there's a lot of serious people in this industry. Like at the end of the day, we're talking about playing cards, and I do know there's businesses behind it too, like especially like what anyone's been able to do. I mean, I even got one because I was like, what's the hype about? and I had to, so I just wanted to get it. Those are the purple ones, and now I'm just like curious about the others, but just curious right now. But I think the marketing campaign itself is just really funny. I think it would be fun to see like a series of them, like once a year or something, where it's not like a deck a month is coming out, but something where it's like it gives like the whole community something just to kind of laugh at. That like it kind of makes everything just like a little bit less serious. And yeah, so I'm a fan of it, but I loved reading the comments about like I just loved it. I loved the whole hype around it and thought that was pretty cool. I think with the troll decks gave me the idea of how there needs to be a non-organic playing cards, and I'd love if OPC would start designing junk food playing cards. Just like I made like a donut, like instead of the two little things right here, make them like these perfect little donuts. And I thought that would be, and then everything is, they do their thing with it.
Yeah,
I think that would be a fun side series, because I don't eat all organic. That's just
I think a long running joke is that a plantains, so a Fontaine OPC collab for plantains has been a running joke that I think would be fun. But yeah, I don't think that they have plans to do anything like unorganic, but that would be cool to see maybe troll decks or something like that pick up an idea like that. So we're getting pretty late into the video. Do you want to do unboxing of the orbits, or?
I'd love that, man. I posted up on my Instagram. Do you got this one?
Yes, I have the parallels.
Nice.
I've already opened mine though. Whenever I get a cards immediately, first thing I do, open it without even thinking. This is my way.
I just like, I'll get so frustrated trying to get the pull tab open, dude. Like, so my frustration level is, so like I'm already like dreading this experience. I like when there's no sticker. That's one thing that, because
I agree, yeah.
Because then it's like, oh man, I'm gonna have to like rip the box or something. And I just finally had it, man. Like on one, I was like, why am I trying to preserve this? Yeah. But so yeah, that's the only time. And if I'm trying to preserve like the deck case, I'll be careful with it. But
yeah. So one cool thing I'll point out to you on the tops here, you'll see it has the 32 for the black deck.
Yep.
On the V8s, it's normally 23 because I think it's Orbit's favorite number. So since it's a parallel universe, it's backwards.
Nice.
So that's a fun little thing that they do with the parallels, is they'll flip that number.
And they've done parallels with every deck.
Just the V7s. So it's a new
okay. So it just started
they just started doing this. Yeah.
They're like, what if we could make 2? And then this time they were like, what if we could do 3? Next time there's gonna be 4, and they're just gonna be.
It would be really cool if they actually like went back and did parallel editions of the older ones. Like that'd be pretty cool, especially for people that haven't been around like me to get some of the original ones. Like that'd be pretty sweet.
That would be so cool. Like some reprintings of their version 4 would be so awesome. That's the one that I really want, with the little spaceships around. That's my favorite one, but it's like $60 or $70 now.
Yeah.
Oh, I do really like the little like tuck case thing. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
You got the drone and looks like probably the planet Mars.
See, then like the sticker is holding back a card, and I'm just like, my first world problems are just savage right now. But I do love like the matte tuck boxes. I always think that's pretty sweet. Okay, so this is nice. First thing I always do. Notice how tacky they are. Like, I think I noticed that with like most decks too. I'm always like, wow, not all these like oils and everything and
Hmm.
all the dropping hasn't hit this yet.
Smooth.
Yep. They're slick. I
Yeah.
can never close the first fan
Mhm.
because it's always so slippery.
Yeah. The
Get too ambitious.
the corner
That's sick.
planets. Yeah. Corner
That's
planets look
cool.
really great.
Wow.
So this is actually the deck I was more excited out of all the three. This is the one I was most excited for. I said that I opened one and I didn't want to I didn't want to open another though, but I did buy a half brick of these of these versions.
I just, dude, the detail in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are cool. So, and where were these printed?
They're USPCC
Okay, so it's
brushed top,
USPCC.
maybe
Okay.
web press, but yeah, it was made in USPCC. Um,
Interesting.
most I don't know most the V8 was the regular V8 is marked, so like on the back you can actually get see what the front deck is based on the cards. They're in the court, like in some of the corners. I
That's
checked that on this one, and there aren't any markings on this to my knowledge from everything I've seen.
interesting.
But the V8s do have a marking system on the cards on the backs.
Do you ever use it?
No, I don't really do Magic, so no. But it is
That's
nice little neat.
I just
Honestly,
I never hear about it.
yeah. He doesn't announce like it's marked. Usually, it's the people find it afterwards.
That's fun.
So
That's
that is something funny does. I had to look up a YouTube video. I couldn't find it on the V8s without looking up someone else. So like once you see it, it's completely obvious. But if you don't know it's there, they're usually pretty hard to like tell for most people.
I need to do like a whole video just looking for it. The whole like it's like a 4-hour video. Yeah, the fans though, I love looking
Yeah.
at that. The only cut, yeah. See the circles would be, oh, but yeah, seeing the that's cool, man. That's
The circles, yeah.
yeah,
You get
seeing
them in
how like
motion with like a pirouette or a revolution cut like you're doing there, and it
yeah,
stays.
I would, dude. Period. I can only do those when I'm like when it's really warm. My hands are never sticky enough to do those kinds of just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, these are. Let me give these the front face here real quick. So the diamonds and everything are different. That's cool.
Yeah. The pips are Arco, so they're reworked Arco pips, so they're not completely standard.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay. And are these face? So these face cards are different too.
Yeah, so these have faces of people that are important to Orbit Brown. So the Jack of Diamonds, for example, is Orbit Brown himself. And
Dude, that's what I was just looking at.
then
That's sick. You're not a magician.
but yeah, Sean O's in here. There are also a couple that are normal, like the King of Diamonds. But there's a lot of these that are like his mother, not Sean O. There's a lot of people that are important to him.
That's cool.
As well as Nick Stumphauser, who usually edits his videos on there too. So it's a lot of people that are close to him for the most part.
That's brilliant. That is cool. And so all the pips are Arco. You got the double back. What do you typically do with your double back?
I have a box.
Ah.
I put them in this box, and that's where they live forever. And if so I can kick cards, that's something I do sometimes. So these are like my kickers. Or if I want to throw a card or something, trash a card. I don't really keep them in the deck.
Yeah, I'm always like, oh, I need to get rid of it, and then it just stays in, and then it confuses me when all of a sudden it gets on the bottom or something. Also, what's your favorite move to do?
Favorite move. This is kind of cheesy, but I love spring. Most part, I just kind of do my own moves at this point, for the most part, just because it's the funnest for me.
And what is fun about it for you?
for one, the fact that cardistry is so unexplored, for me, I think with my skill set, it's relatively easy to find new things and new mechanics and stuff right now. So I really like creating things that have never been created before. I think that's an exhilarating feeling. I think that's what I kind of like about video editing as well. And creating videos is you're making something that literally could not exist without you being there in the full capacity of that. It's totally unique. Um, so that's really cool. And I just like perfecting things too. So that's why I like doing my own moves. I like perfecting what I've already did and making it a little bit better. So I still do all the original moves I've made. Kraken and Proteus are two that if you follow my stuff, if people have followed my stuff, they know that I do that a ton. I still do those to that day. I still find little things to make them a little bit better. So for me, it's always been funner to do my own moves and kind of perfect them than to necessarily learn other people's moves. And I know I'm not, I think I'm a little bit more unique in that aspect. I know a lot of people that are really good cardists love to learn other people's moves, but for me, for the most part, I just kind of like doing my own stuff.
It goes back to like, there's like those levels of it. Like, how into it do you want to be? Like, do you want to just kind of appreciate the artwork? Do you want to learn some of the moves? Do you want to create your own moves? And that's all. That's actually all I got for that statement. But that it is like, there's so many different ways to have fun with these, and that's what. And I just like being able just to have like something I can just do like a one hand cut with pretty often, because I'm always just like, I'll just walk around the house with these, or like while I'll be talking to my wife, I'll just be just, I know I need to, like, when I need to stop doing this and trying to talk over myself. There's some times where I'm like, okay, I'm being more distracting than whatnot. But I think, yeah, it's fun seeing how many ways you can be a part of this community.
So we've been at it for a while. I feel like this might be a good time to, at least recording wise, kind of close up shop.
Right on.
So Tyler, thank you for being on the show. At the end, I usually do what I call roll out the close-up pad. That's just my way of saying, is there anything you would like to promote real quick, or any last nugget you would like to leave the audience with?
Just keep on doing the card things, you know.
So as always, I'll have linked to Tyler's stuff in the description if you want to check him out. Like I said, he's been starting this decked series of unboxings, which I've been enjoying. So definitely check that out if you guys get the time. Once again, thank you for being on the show. Thank you, viewer, for watching. Hopefully enjoying. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you had some fun. I'll stop talking now, and we can head out. See you guys.